You think your pantry is ready? Think again. Because some of the food sitting on your shelf right now, they're not helping you. They're silently sabotaging your stockpile, turning into rot, mold, and wasted space. In this video, we're breaking down 7 common foods you should never store long-term, and why they could ruin your prepping plans when it matters most. These aren't exotic mistakes. These are things most people stock up on without a second thought. But you're not most people. You're watching this because you want to be smart. So stay with me, because by the end, you'll know exactly what to remove, what to replace, and what to never waste money on again. Let's talk about one of the most common and most dangerous mistakes new preppers make. Brown rice. Yeah, it sounds healthy. More fiber, more vitamins. Better than white rice, right? Not if you're stockpiling for survival. Here's the truth. Brown rice will destroy your stockpile from the inside. Why? Because the oils in the outer bran layer go rancid. And no, you won't always smell it. You might not even taste it, but your body will know. Spoiled fats slowly break down your health, and in a crisis when your system's already stressed. That's the last thing you need. White rice is stripped of those oils. Less nutrition, sure, but decades of shelf life. Sealed in Mylar bags with oxygen absorbers, kept in a cool, dry place. It's good for 30 years. That's not hype. That's been tested by BYU Labs, the US military and long-term prep storage experts. So ask yourself, when the power's out, the shelves are empty, and the world's upside down. Do you want a reliable, clean, energy-dense food that's ready to go? Or a bag of spoiled grain that smells like old oil and leaves you sick when you need strength the most? At Crisis Cart, we don't prep for likes. We prep for survival. White rice isn't trendy, but it's trustworthy. And that's exactly what you want when the world becomes unpredictable. Here's a perfect example of how normal logic breaks down in a survival situation. Bread. It's a staple. Familiar. Filling. Feels like something you should stock up on, right? Wrong. Fresh bread lasts 3 to 7 days. Tops. Add a little humidity and it's mold city. No refrigeration? No sealed packaging? One rainstorm and your emergency bread turns into a bacteria sponge. And here's the kicker. It takes up space but gives you zero stability. So, what's the smart move? Rethink bread entirely. Don't store the loaf and store the source. Whole grain flour in airtight containers can last up to 10 years. Rolled oats and compressed grains? 25 years, even dry bread mixes. If you store them right, can go the distance. Learn a few simple recipes now. Flatbreads, skillet cakes, no yeast loaves. You won't need a fridge, a fancy oven, or a use-by label. Just fire, water, and the knowledge to make real food when it counts. A bread stockpile isn't about stocking bread. It's about stocking the power to make it. That's not just food security, that's vormykor. That's freedom. Frozen food is a great resource until the power goes out. And when it does, whether from a hurricane, blackout, or full-blown crisis, your freezer turns into a ticking time bomb. In just 2 to 3 days, everything inside starts to thaw, rot, and become dangerous. A full freezer might feel like you're ready, but that's an illusion of safety. The power grid is one of the first things to fail in a disaster. And when it does, all your frozen meat, veggies, and ready meals become a soggy, smelly liability. So what's the move? Bet on stability. Dry goods like rice, beans, lentils, and pasta. Shelf life up to 30 years. Canned meats, fish, veggies, and soups. 5 to 10 years or more. Dehydrated and freeze-dried foods if your budget allows. Powdered milk, grains, flour, spices, and honey. The backbone of a real meal. These don't need refrigeration, vacuum seals, or a backup generator. Just darkness, dryness, and airtight storage. A real stockpile works without conditions. Don't count on a wall socket. Count on what you've actually prepared. Your freezer isn't a pantry, and a survivor isn't the one with a full fridge. It's the one whose food doesn't need one. Breakfast cereal and granola. Probably one of the most overrated prepper foods out there. Sure, they're tasty, crunchy, and familiar, but here's the truth. They bring almost no real value, go bad fast, and waste precious space. Why? Because they're full of oils, nuts, and sugars that turn rancid without airtight storage. In 6 to 12 months, the flavor goes soapy, the smell gets off, and the nutrients drop. And for all that, one bulky box gives you just a handful of servings, Sonen, wrapped in unstable, non-sealed packaging. Now compare that to oats or grains. Oats take up less space, cost less, and if stored right, last for decades. They give you slow-release carbs, long-lasting energy, and cook easily, even over a fire. Plus, they're versatile. Eat them sweet or savory, add dried fruit, spices, honey, whatever you've got. If you're building a real stockpile, think like a survivor, not a supermarket shopper. Crisis Cart keeps it real. Taste is nice. But survival is smarter. Want crunch? Stock grains? Want to make it through the storm? Stock oats. Got a smart way to store oats or a favorite recipe? Drop it in the comments. Your know-how could help someone else stay ready. Chips, chocolate bars, candy. Sounds tempting, especially when stress hits. But let's be real. Junk food is one of the worst choices for your survival stash. Why? First, it's empty calories. Sure, it gives you a quick sugar rush, but no protein, no fiber, no essential fats. Second, unstable shelf life. Oils go rancid, chocolate turns gray, candy melts or fuses into a rock. In heat, humidity, or unstable storage, that treat becomes trash real fast. In a crisis, you don't need a sugar high. You need reliable energy. And here's where two forever foods come in. Honey, antibacterial, immune boosting, energy dense. It lasts forever, even helps with wounds or sore throats. Sugar, pure carb, excellent preservative, barter gold, and perfect for DIY foods. You can make energy bars, sweeten oats, boil syrups, and you'll actually enjoy them without worrying about spoilage. Want a sweet life even when the world goes bitter? Skip the cartoon-wrapped snacks. Stock the real, eternal stuff. What do you keep in your stash for a sweet fix? Share it in the comments. Real-world prep helps all of us stay ready. Soda, juice, energy drinks in plastic bottles. Sounds convenient. But for long-term prepping, they're one of the worst investments you can make. Why? Over time, plastic allows oxygen to seep in. Even sealed, those bottles slowly degrade. Within a year, the flavor goes off, the smell changes, and oxidation kicks in. Especially with sugary drinks, after 12 months, it's a chemical gamble. Now picture this. It's a crisis, it's hot, and you open that juice bottle you were counting on. And it's gone bad. That's not just disappointing. That's wasted space in your stockpile. So what's the smarter move? Go dry. Powdered drinks and infusions are your secret weapon. Lemonade mixes, electrolyte powders, sports drinks, they last for years, take up no space, and just need water. Tea, herbs, coffee, even dried berries. Boil them up, warm your hands, lift your morale, and stay hydrated with purpose. On this channel, we always say, water is life. But drinking plain water for weeks? That's a mental battle. Prep for hydration and sanity. Flavor is a survival tool. What's your favorite dry drink to stash? Share in the comments. Someone out there needs your tip. Nuts seem like the perfect emergency food. High calorie, nutrient dense, all natural. But here's the catch. Raw or unsalted nuts are surprisingly unstable. They're packed with healthy fats, great for energy, terrible for shelf life. Within 12 to 24 months, those oils start to go rancid, especially when exposed to air or light. The taste turns bitter, the smell goes off, and in a crisis, spoiled food isn't just a letdown, it's a liability. This channel tells it straight. Nuts in original store packaging are not long-term preps. Yes, they're healthy, but unless you're constantly rotating your supply, they'll betray you when you need them most. The better option? Peanut butter. Pasteurized, sealed, and far more stable. It's packed with calories, fats, and protein. Everything you need when resources are scarce. Shelf life? 2 years or more when stored properly. Just make sure the ingredients are clean. More peanuts, less sugar, and label the jars so you can rotate on time. Bottom line, store what survives, not just what sounds healthy. And if you've ever tried stockpiling nuts, tell us in the comments what worked. Your insight could make the difference.